Herr Djeffal ist der Nächste, der mit uns den Endspurt sozusagen einläutet. Und wir gehen nochmal zurück in die Pitch-Sessions von gestern und kriegen jetzt da die Ergebnisse oder eine Zusammenfassung präsentiert. Und ich glaube, Christian Djeffal ist auch der Beste, der das präsentieren kann, weil das ist ja derjenige, der euch am meisten Feuer gegeben hat. Also ich würde schon raten, ihm zuzuhören. Also ihm zuzuhören, weil es geht um die Pitch-Ergebnisse von gestern. Und jetzt würde ich Ihnen, wir sind ja alle immer beim Du, das Wort erteilen für die Ergebnisse von gestern und eine kleine Zusammenfassung und was man damit vielleicht auch noch anstellt. Bitte schön.
Excellent, thank you so much, and do take your time. I think we all need some time to digest the food, obviously, but also the food for thought we've been consuming this morning, which I think was a wonderful and really brilliant session. Even though I have to say yesterday was pretty good as well. Yeah? So I think the student teams represented here did a great job of filling what we discussed today from the perspective of politics, of the economy and of academia with life and with their ideas, which I think is instrumental and so important because you are going to be the people who actually will take these decisions down the road. So we thought it's really important to now try to summarize very briefly, even though that's impossible, your achievements and just create some appetite because there will be some form of, we're at the moment, I think, figuring this out, but there will be some form of written reporting, and to make this more attractive to all the people attending this conference, I will just make a quick summary as an introduction for the process. So we posed the question about European digital sovereignty from a conceptual, economic and technical point of view, and invited young people and students from Germany and France, I shall say all over Europe, to hand in proposals, and the best 10 were picked and actually pitched yesterday. So they came to Munich to defend their ideas in pitch sessions, and I was really amazed just by the variety of formats we got. So from startups presenting their product to scholarly publications and consultancy projects. So it's very hard to summarize this in around about 10 minutes. So what I will do is to depart from this one concept, European digital sovereignty, and summarize your pitches in 2 streams, with 1 sentence each. Then make 3 observations and ask 4 questions. And then I'll be done, and it won't take too long, I promise. So the 2 streams I would like to outline is technology leadership and user empowerment. Many of your pitches kind of lean towards one of those questions. So we had the team from the University of Rennes that actually produced a strategy combining measures to enhance startup-friendly ecosystems in Europe and European clouds. Yeah, so they really thought about ecosystems and infrastructures. We had the team from the University of Maastricht who kind of discovered the strategic value of European digital sovereignty for companies, and actually did this also in a practice project for the company Atos. We had one project from EXI La Rochelle, again with a strategy to outline key technology and measures how to boost digital sovereignty in Europe. And a team from the Technical University of Munich to enhance the formation of large European platforms. Another team from EXI La Rochelle kind of developed a strategy for self-sufficiency of the European industry. And this was kind of the stream talking about leadership in technology, so technology leadership. But then there was another stream with user empowerment, and I think those complemented each other very well. So we had the startup portal pitching a platform for sovereign self-hosting of data by citizens. a team from my TUM School of Social Sciences and Technology, of course not only mine, but the school where I'm also located, had a very interesting idea of making recommender systems in social media transparent by including another layer that would make it graspable for user what happens there. The OTH Regensburg kind of really boiled down an agenda how to boost specific aspects of European digital sovereignty, like open access, an open access policy or anonymity, and kind of showed us which would be the steps to be really taken. The United Nations University had a program to enhance digital skills and to educate people about technology, but also social technical things. And a cross-institutional team from Paris had a very interesting solution for, again, containers for individuals to store their data. And those 5 pitches are in the kind of stream of user empowerment. Yeah, so sorry, I know I'm doing injustice to your ideas, which were much more granular and had more aspects than I could state in one sentence. But I tried to make this up by offering 3 observations to you. And the first, what you really showed me, is that we need reasons beyond tech leadership to make sense out of, if we want to make sense out of digital European sovereignty, we need reasons beyond tech leadership, beyond competitive advantages. And many of you kind of had a stance on what you think this European approach should stand for. So I think that's instrumental. And if one were to collect more kind of advantages, that's instrumental to think about why are we even doing this, apart from that we want to score high in rankings and we want to be the best. So the second thing you showed me is this going from principle to practice. And this was highlighted today several times that this is so important, but you came up with specific and concrete ideas that we could then also discuss. And I think that's just wonderful, and that shows, of course, the high-level discussions are part of the picture as well, but these, to work with artifacts, with specific ideas, I think adds completely different nuances to the whole discussion, and therefore I think it's really interesting what you offered. And that's another reason to follow up. And the third observation, and I'm not copying Urs Gasser here, I wrote this down yesterday, is really digital sovereignty as a process and not as a state of being. Yeah? And I think both of the sessions complemented each other very well in that regard. So what I saw from you is this kind of situational design approaches to really usher social technical creativity and work with the things we have instead of just hypothesizing and thinking in an abstract manner. Yeah, and I think you did this really well. We could really see where you would go. And this led us also, I think, in the discussion to avoid cliches. Yeah, is regulation good or bad? There is good regulation and bad regulation, and the question is how do we do it? The same with technology, and I think many other areas, which I think can also be gleaned from your excellent interventions. This whole notion of socio-technical creativity, so to have both sides, to know the technology, but also to think about what we could do with it. So I'm going to be very brief on 4 questions I take out of your interventions. And the first is really, what are the key areas and how can we understand? I mean, we can look at phenomenological specific examples, data, platform, clouds, AI, 5G. We talked a lot about the metaverse today, but how do we determine these areas also as we go along, as we look forward? Yeah, So let's not only play bingo with shiny terms, but also understand what is it that makes up the crucial questions in our technical infrastructure that we frame as, or if we frame this as digital sovereignty. Who are the key stakeholders and what is their responsibility and capacity? You really looked at different stakeholders, policymakers, industries, citizens, academia, and civil society. And that would be my second question. And then the third one, what are the key goals with which we measure success and that we want to achieve? And I think you were not shy yesterday to also outline trade-offs and things where we really need to take decisions, which is why this is such a political question. Yeah, you cannot always go for the Pareto optimum or kind of achieve all values at the time, but in many cases there are tough and hard decisions, data protection or use of data and so on and so forth. And I think you didn't shy away from that, but that's a question for us. I mean, how should we make these decisions? And then my last question is, what should we make out of digital sovereignty? And now I really try to understand this term in a more loose way, maybe because I'm referencing constructive philosophy of language and, of course, my adoration for French post-structuralism. But I think this also has an immediate, so we coin and frame the terms we use, and of course they have a deep structure and they have a preconceived meaning. We've been educated about that before, but on the other hand, specifically with our situation here, we are coining digital sovereignty. And I think in the end, European digital sovereignty will be what comes out of the of gatherings like this. So it's not only our discussions, but also how we take this further and what we as a group. Good point to wake up. What we as a group actually do with that. And I think here you made some brilliant interventions and insights. So it was mentioned that I asked some tricky and difficult questions yesterday. I'll ask a very easy one today to all the students still present. Would you please stand up for a minute to receive your applause for your interventions in this conference?